good, whatever it is, wherever you are. My name's Katie O. This is Moon Mama Musings. Welcome back to my living room for another energy peephole for today, the 8th of November 2021. We have a waxing crescent moon that will transit to the sign of Capricorn today at 8:04 a.m. Bangkok time. And as I started out, I heard very clearly winding down and gearing up. Winding down and gearing up. It's this very push and pull energy of slowing it down to level up in some way, simplifying things so that you can be more effective in your ascension, in your leveling up, in your movement forward, in whatever you're doing right now to better yourself. So there's been a lot of things going on, and we've made some massive changes. Yesterday we had all major arcana in the cards of the day, and they are they know that it's like there is such a clear acknowledgement that big things are happening, but we need to wind it down a little bit. We need to thin the fluff. We need to make sure that we are honing our energy in most effectively on the things that most require our attention. And I do really, really like this energy. But it can be challenging to sort of, well, quiet the hum, right? We've had a lot of fluctuating energies in terms of the planets changing signs lately. And it can make a lot of noise up in here if you guys are anything like me. So we're being encouraged right now to try and quiet the monkey brain a little bit. When we're in a state of flux, we can fall back into old patterns to deal with the discomfort of the unknown or the discomfort of change. But you're very much being encouraged to not buy into the crazy talk in there that sets you back. All right. We've got 4 aspects that I'd like to talk to you about today. First and foremost, the moon is in conjunction with Venus. So this is it's like a girly party, right? Our feminine energies are really strong right now. Venusian energy can be associated with feminine sides of things, although I don't think it is necessarily feminine, even though Venus is like the little sign of Venus is the same as the feminine sign. I do believe that it's more complex than just attributing it a feminine or masculine energy. Because it has to do with things like money, and it has to do with things like creativity, which do involve a certain sense of going and getting and doing, which is a masculine energy in and of itself. However, it does require an integration of a receiving energy, which is a feminine one. But it's a girly party, and it's almost like it's a girly party, but not just like a sleepover. It's like with a goal, like it's like a Tupperware party, right? I know it sounds really strange, but it would be like the gathering of feminine energies in order to acquire useful tools or to expand some sort of productive knowledge. You know what I mean? I know it sounds kind of like, it sounds vague, but I mean, it is vague because I believe it's going to have several implications it's not just one thing that it affects, right? Like it's not just going to affect your wallet. It also affects your inner mind state and your sense of beauty and love and all of that. So it's like these multifaceted collection of resources. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I was mentioning how one of the downloads that I've been getting a lot lately is like the idea that tools may be used for traditional means, but you might, in the face of some sort of a challenge, realize that they can be useful for something else. So, for example, you want to nail a nail into a piece of wood, and you don't have a hammer, but you have a screwdriver. Like, obviously, screwdriver is not meant to hammer in the nail, right? But if in a pinch you can, being careful, sort of like use the butt end of the screwdriver to hammer in this nail. Yeah, it's not going to be the most effective way to hammer in the nail, but if you've got nothing else, then we are going to be innovative with our tools and use them for different purposes. So feminine energies are strong today, and we may be feeling very pragmatic, I heard. And I'm using that word specifically, pragmatic, okay? And I think that this also does, again, like I said, Venusian energy isn't so black and white. So yes, we might be feeling pragmatic in that sort of negative side of things where pragmatism can sometimes step on other people. But pragmatic also, let's be honest now, it is with the goal of benefit to the self. So if we do this in a balanced way, it doesn't have to make us a crazy jerk. So obviously being called to awareness of that kind of stuff. Maybe that's why the feminine energy is so prominent, is bringing in empathy and receptivity in order to best sort of navigate this polarity of pragmatism. Knowing that we need to take action for our own betterment, but also knowing that it's important to give it good structure. Also, the moon is in Capricorn, right? So that also deals with structure a lot of the time for me. Give it good structure so that we can do it in an exalted way, in a beautiful way, in a conducive way for more than just ourselves. We also have the moon in a sextile with Mercury. So we've been eager to communicate and transform this aspect. We've been really pushed to deal with communicative energies, to deal with exchanges of energy in whatever Mercurian form you're talking about, whether it be health, travel, technology, communication, interpersonal relationships, etc., intellect, things like that. This particular aspect with this sextile is speaking of strong willingness to transform our communication style, to better clear out these devil energies. Like I said, the moon is in Capricorn, and the moon, or Capricorn itself, is the sign that rules the devil card in tarot, which, I mean, yes, it can be addictions, yes, it can be obsessions, but it can also just be these, like, repetitive things that require our attention, and sometimes repetitive things that require our attention do very much fall back into the places where maybe the stability we seek is not perfectly expressed. So I'm hearing that with this sextile to the moon, sextile being a supportive healing energy, it's helping us grow a backbone in a certain sense, but I believe it's like an emotional backbone. We want to change all these communication styles to better honor this newfound sense of emotional security and stability and balance that we've been cultivating for some time. And we're more able to think about how, it's like integrating the old obsessions and the old ways that we did things that held us back, looking at the ways that we transform them, and looking at how they maybe didn't serve us in the past, in order to have a better handle on how this transformative process is required to like, well, stop us from falling back on the things that didn't work for us. Transform the devil energy, use it as a way to look at the things that we need to clear up, to illuminate, to shed light on, to heal, etc. We also have the moon sextiling Mars. So our actions are on point these days, okay? Whatever it is that you're doing it right, I'm hearing. You are extremely, all of your actions that you're doing are very, very supportive of this new emotional stability that you're creating. And you've been true to your intuition. You've been true to your guidance. You've been true to those gut feelings. You've been following the signs. You've been succumbing to the sort of magic of coincidence, so to speak. And all the steps that we're taking are very well placed and helping us with our goals right now. So what I heard was, if you were looking for a sign that you were taking the right actions, or you were worried that maybe something that you were doing or putting your energy into was the right thing, this is your sign. And yes, in fact, you are doing exactly what you need to do. You are where you need to be. Nothing is in vain. This is your sign. You're doing great. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Okay. Last but not least, the moon is squaring Chiron. So we're feeling challenged to clear old wounds that we've become very, very stubborn about. So Chiron is in Aries, yeah, and it is retrograde. But in Aries, Chiron in Aries can be a little bit avoidant with regards to important things. When Chiron is in Aries, we might still be willing to deal with old wounds, but it's like we might not necessarily want to delve into the things that are a little bit on the harder side, or the little bit on the more challenging or emotionally um, perturbing side, let's say. So we're yet again brought back to this to-do list that I once spoke about. Used to talk a lot about the fact that, like, we have a to-do list, and there's this big thing at the top of the to-do list that we needed to address, and we're like, oh well, I'm going to do all these other little things first before I get to this big one, because I'll be able to focus more on it. Or, oh, I might not have that much time today, so why don't I do a small task so I don't start this bigger task and only get halfway done before I run out of time. This kind of vibe. But I mean, the last time we dealt with this, I believe that we actually did clear that thing at the top of the to-do list. It's just like, almost like, because we cleared that original thing at the top of the to-do list, we're kind of like looking at this paper going like, oh, well, normally I've got all these things to do, but now it seems like I've cleared it. Ah, ha, ha, great, the game is over. And it's like, no, 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 no. Your to-do list is empty because you've not had the courage to actually put new things on it. Yeah, it's like you've cleared out old energies. Yeah, you've done a lot of great work, but there's still some to be done, and you do need to address what those things are. What are those old wounds that have been plaguing you, that you carry around on your shoulders, that you still have just not gotten around you yet? So it's almost like I say you with this big red marker, and you're like, okay, fine, let's put this in now. I'm willing to accept it now. So I think that we are really, really becoming ready to bring on a new phase of addressing challenging um, things for our challenging issues that that do burden us, that we have become more readily available to heal. Talked about that yesterday. I believe it was yesterday, where it was like we're just opening up some sort of an energy where we have more capacity to actually heal ourselves. So it's funny because the fact that that Chiron aspect came out, I did feel like, oh my God, whatever it is that we're dealing with is very big, and it doesn't just go away in a day. And it was confirmed by the fact when I went to go and clear out a new deck to give you the card of the day, they were like, no, use the same deck. And I was like, really? And they're like, yes, you have to use the same deck. And normally I don't like using tarot for the card of the day when I'm going to be doing a live over on Instagram, because I'm going to pull you guys a full tarot spread. But no, they were very insistent that we were to use a tarot deck, the same one as yesterday, so the Antique Anatomy deck. And it does make sense because yesterday the cards of the day were all major arcana, right? Which shows big, big, big change, and big, big, big things happening, down to take a little bit of time before we're able to really sort out the energies. So here we go. Let's see. What is it that this energy, what's this big energy that today on the 8th we are continuing to deal with? Let's see. Card of the day. What have we got? Okay, we got a little triplet here. 10 of Cups, 3 of Swords, and 7 of Swords. Okay, so in this triplet, I want to focus on the center card here, which is the 3 of Swords. Okay, this is bringing a call back to Chiron here. We have some wounds. We have some very deep-seated pains, heartbreaks, um, um, uh, feelings of abandonment and avoidance that are, again, coming up to the forefront. We're realizing that something is in fact broke, and we do actually have to fix it. And it's really, really, really important for us to fix it. Okay, we've got to cope with these heartbreak energies because we know full well how destructive they can be. But the the bigger and deeper seated they are, the more they infiltrate our very unconscious sort of day-to-day small actions, and we don't know how they're tripping us up. It's like we're in a beautiful state of flow, and then all of a sudden you're like, why isn't this working anymore? And you didn't even realize that you, through muscle memory, kind of got yourself back into a little bit of muck in terms of I'm hearing that course correction. It's almost like you got distracted by something shiny and didn't necessarily take the first step that, or sorry, take a take a step towards course correction the first time that they've pointed it out to you. So they pointed, it's like you get brought up into your acknowledgement, this, okay, there's a heartbreak that I need to heal, but then you're like, oh, pretty, and it falls away again. And then there's like some time that needs to pass before it's okay to bring it back again. So this heartbreak keeps coming in and out of our life. And I believe that it is coming true. But the thing is whatever this thing is, it really does need to be cleared, because it keeps us in a state of dishonesty with ourselves about what we want. And right now, being in an energy that we're trying to call in certain manifestations, we're trying to bring in certain gifts from the universe, we're trying to bring things to fruition that have been difficult to do so. If we don't know what it is exactly that we want, if we're not able to be honest with ourselves with the things that we want, then we can never really truly find this beautiful sense of an emotional closing out of a cycle to start one that's more healthy for us. It's like we just keep on, because we're still in denial about something, the same old emotional cycle does keep on bringing up, and it could come and present itself to you in different ways. But the bottom line is that the heartbreak remains, and the heartbreak comes back, and this sense of breaking our own heart is the problem. High Priestess, you are an extremely intuitive being, and I feel like when I'm talking about this, there is definitely, even though you might not be fully willing to completely acknowledge it yet, there's so much of you that knows that you've got to move towards this clarity and away from this darkness. Yeah, the Seven of Swords can be really, sometimes it's important for you to sort of like prioritize and put things on the back burner, but you do know that you eventually do need to bring in this darkness energy and clear it out. And now I believe that we are becoming more and more and more intuitively guided to actually truly clear it out. So I just grab a bag of tricks. Okay, let's get a couple from the bag of tricks to see what we can do about this. Okay. Okay. Praise and insomnia. There is this. Okay, so they're saying that this praise card is representing the acknowledgement. They want you to look at it as you're losing sleep over trying to acknowledge this thing, but they want you to look at it as a celebration of yourself instead of fishing through the darkness and keeping yourself awake at night. I'm hearing it's almost like you're in the darkness and you're like, well, it's dark, I should be sleeping. Why aren't I sleeping? Yeah, it's because you're kind of looking at this process in a really in a very, it's not in the right way. You're looking at the process as a punishment when you should be seeing it as a way to open up your heart. All right, follow my knowing and bloom. You are ascending. You are growing. You are bringing yourself into this beautiful sense of an energy of opening your petals, like really opening up to the sunlight, right? And they're encouraging you to continue to follow your intuition with regards to this blooming energy of yourself. Just keep on following the guidance and going in the direction that you are pushed by your gut to go in, because it really does truly support this blooming energy. Betray and include. Okay, so that maybe for some of you, that thing that you're not looking at, that you don't want to look at, is a betrayal. There is an energy of that deep-seated, ingrained thing that you don't want to look at. It keeps on being brought to light by people slighting you, betraying you, keeping secrets from you, not being forthcoming with you. And they're encouraging you to really start integrating the idea of what it is that you feel betrayed about in order to better heal yourself. And last but not least, welcome and rebuild. All right, guys, you do want to create a new castle for yourself. You want to create a home that you can welcome your friends in, that you can share with the people that you love. You want to create some sort of structure that gives you the space and the conducive environment to be as collaborative as possible. And you are almost ready to welcome in the necessary energies for that rebuilding. It's not quite there yet, but you're it's like you're opening the door and saying welcome. They're not inside yet, but you are opening the door. All right. So positive energies, my friends. We are continue. We're building. We're moving up in the world. It's a slow go, absolutely, but we are moving up in the world. Okay, dears, I will see you later. But until then, I'm sorry for anything you're going through. If I've made you feel a certain way, thank you for being a beautiful being and lending your energy to this circuit that I hold so dear. Thank you to your guides, my guides, the Ascended Masters, angels, whatever other energy was involved in us finding these clear, concise messages for our greatest good, whether it be right now or in the near or distant future. I love you to the moon and stars and back, and I accept this, and I hope you do too. But if not, no biggie. Catch you again. Bye.